What's up, MCKO Boxing family? We're just gonna jump right into this video, and I'm gonna give you guys the 5 pillars that I stand on, which I believe have made me a successful boxing coach. Now, if you are a coach of any kind, I believe this can apply for you, but I'm going to structure this video specifically for combat sports instructors. So if you are a boxing coach, kickboxing coach, sensei, MMA trainer, wrestling coach, combat sports coaches, this is more so geared for you. But like I said, I believe any coach can pick up value from this. So I hope that you can take value from this video. One thing I'm going to say before we get into it is that what I'm providing you is a real story, real experience from a real human being, something that you're not going to get from ChatGPT. Okay, you can ask ChatGPT, how can you become a better coach, but it's not going to give you what I have learned throughout my years of coaching. Okay, so we're going to get right into it. Tip number 1 is being skilled at what you do. Okay, there have been people that have ridiculed me, criticized me based upon my appearance because I look small. I fought at 125 pounds max. A lot of my fights were under 100 pounds. I fought at 115 pounds, 112 pounds, 118 pounds. The heaviest I ever fought at was 125 pounds. So people that don't know anything about boxing have criticized me because of my size. And they've said to me, "You're going to teach me boxing?" Yeah, I'm going to teach you boxing. Okay, you could be double my weight, and I'm going to show you inside the ring why I'm the master of the sport, because I put decades into this sport. I have dedicated myself to this craft, and I am good at what I do. So that is tip number 1. Be good at what you do. Now, not to discredit other boxing coaches that don't have the experience that I do. There are other boxing coaches that are phenomenal coaches, maybe even better than me as a boxing coach, and they have way less experience in the ring because they are being true to themselves and they do have the skills. So I'm not making this video to say if you don't have X amount of experience, you can't be a coach. No, you can do anything you set your mind to. I don't know if you've seen this before, but there are fat personal trainers out there, y'all. So I don't know what's working for them, but this video is what worked for me. Okay, so I'm giving you real value. These are the things that I have done for me and they have worked for me. Maybe they can work for you. All right, so if you're following me, being good at what I do has separated me from other coaches. Okay, so people will start to work with me and they'll be like, dang, this guy's really good. You know, like I'll spar with my clients, with my fighters, and I will obviously not hurt them, but I will show them that I am hitting them and they're having trouble hitting me. Even though they're trying to muscle me, even though they're trying to use their strength and their size over me, if you're having a hard time hitting me, you're not going to beat me. So therefore, my skills have shown why I am a renowned coach. And people like that. When people respect you as a fighter, then they will respect you as a coach. Okay, so tip number 1 is you can always grow. Even myself today, I have all this experience with fighting, but I'm still working with coaches. I like to work with coaches because I'm always learning. I am always adjusting my style. I'm trying new tactics. I am growing as a fighter. Matter of fact, I'm still a student to the game, even though I'm a coach, even though I'm a master. I'm still a student to the game, and I'll be a student to this game till the day I die. So always, a good coach is always coachable as well. All right, tip number 2. What has separated me from other coaches is what I speak, the power of my tongue. Anybody who has ever worked with me, they'll tell you that I've been nothing but encouraging. I do nothing but speak life into the person that I'm working with. And that's all intentional. That's not just me being who I am. I'm very careful about what comes out of my mouth because I know the power that's on my tongue. It is God-given. Proverbs 18:21 says the power of life and death is on the tongue. So I choose intentionally to speak life over every single person that I've ever worked with. As we're holding the pads, instead of telling them, why are you afraid? Don't be afraid. You're a sissy. Yeah. You know, being like that has worked for some coaches. But for me, remember, this video is what worked for me. These are the 5 pillars that I stand on. For me, instead of saying, why are you afraid? Stop being scared. I say the opposite. I construct them instead of deconstruct them. I say, be brave. Look at me in the eyes. Show courage. That's what I do. I speak life. I speak the positive things, the attributes that I want to see in that person. I speak that in the person until I see it manifest in them, in their lives, inside of their character. So speaking life over my students has been the differentiator of what separates me from other coaches, okay? So when you work with me, people know that I'm the type of person that will encourage you, that will lift you up, that will cheer you on. I'm your coach, I'm your friend, okay? Yes, I understand that as a coach, I can't be your friend all the time, but at the same time, my words are building you as well. Words can also destroy a person, okay? So it just depends on the coach. I'm not knocking the coaches that use the negative feedback to encourage people, because I've seen it work for them. So I'm not discouraging you. I think that there's a time and a place for that, but for me, we're talking about what has worked for me, okay? So speaking life over people has kept people coming to me. They're like, I like working with you because you tell me what I'm doing right before you tell me what I'm doing wrong. So I'm not gonna not tell you what you're doing wrong. I'm gonna address that. But first, I'm gonna tell you what you're doing right so that you can see for yourself that you are progressing. But if I'm always telling you what you're doing wrong, how are you gonna see how you're progressing? You're not gonna see that, because all you're gonna remembering is, dang, coach says that I'm doing this, this, and this wrong. But no, along the way, I'm telling you, you're doing this right. I like how you're doing this, but what I want to see you is work on this. So that has worked for me. That's a pillar that I stand on that has made me a good coach. Tip number 3 on what's made me a really successful coach is that I don't turn down anybody. I have worked with people that have come to me and they told me that they were rejected from other boxing coaches because they were too old, or because they weren't old enough, or because they had autism, or because they were disabled, or because they just weren't a good fit, okay? My thing is, I teach anybody. Now, this is true. When it comes to being a coach, if you niched into one thing, you will find success. But here's the thing. Boxing is already a very small niche, okay? It's very small. There's not a lot of people willing to go do boxing. A lot of people are intimidated. Even though deep down, everybody would love to learn how to box, too many people are intimidated by boxing. So what I have done is I have made it very beginner friendly. Okay, so what I do is I understand that they're intimidated, but what I do is I make it very welcoming and I accept everybody for who they are. It doesn't matter if you're autistic, it doesn't matter if you're disabled, it doesn't matter if you're 2, and it doesn't matter if you're 102. It does not matter to me. I will train you. Now, not everybody is built to be a fighter. That part is true, but that doesn't mean that you can't lose an incredible amount of weight learning how to box. If you watch this channel, you'll see that there are people that have given their testimony, their story of how boxing training with me has transformed them to be their best version. This channel is all about boxing will bring the best out of you. There are other things in this world that will bring the worst out of you, such as drugs, alcohol, and other things, right? But I am creating a community where people can come do boxing and it will bring the best out of them. I'm a huge advocate for boxing, so why would I turn anybody away from this? I accept anybody and I welcome anybody, everybody. So that has been the separator from me and other boxing coaches, okay? Because other boxing coaches will only want to work with people because they're teenagers, right? Some boxing coaches only want to work with teenagers. Some boxing coaches only want to work with fighters. Some boxing coaches have turned other people down just because they're a woman. I train anybody, okay? Remember, this niche is already very small, okay? Not a lot of people are willing to do combat sports. So learn how to train anybody. I train children, I train men, I train women. Doesn't matter what you are. I do not judge. My job is to teach you boxing, so that's what I'm going to do. Okay, number 4 is because I create opportunities for fighters, okay? I do train fighters, okay? That's part of the sport. So if you're not taking your fighters to fights, whether it's USA boxing or exhibition matches, whatever it is, if you're not taking fighters to do that, then your fighter's gonna get bored. Imagine if you just go to basketball, right? You're working with a basketball coach, but you never play any games. All you do is just do the drills, the repetition of the drills, and it gets boring after a while, okay? Your students, they're gonna wanna actually play a game. That's where they actually get the benefits from the actual sport. So it's the same thing for boxing, okay? So I have created opportunities, or I went to the opportunities to give my fighters the opportunity to get the understanding and the experience of a real fight. Now, I've seen two things happen. I brought fighters to their first match, and they discovered that fighting is not for them. And then I lost them as a client. But my work with that person was done. That doesn't mean that I did not positively affect that person's life for the best. So you might be one of my students, and that might be you. And listen, you don't got to be a fighter to continue the work. We can always pick back up where we left off. But it has been true. You know, some people, they get the fight experience and then they realize, you know what? I don't really like punching people. I don't like trying to hurt people. I don't like when somebody's in front of me trying to hurt me. For some people, that's not fun, and that's okay. But you can still learn a lot and be disciplined, and boxing can bring the best out of you. But hey, what I stand is true. Look, because I've given people the opportunities to fight, that's what's made me a successful boxing coach. Not only that did I show up to other people's events, and I still show up to other people's events today, but I created my own events as well, welcoming fighters from MMA, from kickboxing, from all over the state, and even from nearby states. I've invited boxing gyms and MMA gyms to come see our events as well. If you want to see what our events look like, just take a look at our channel. I post all the fights on there for you guys to see, and so the fighters can build their brands. I put their names on there. We do an interview so that the fighters can promote themselves and you guys can follow them, and also so the fighters can look back at their old fights and they can see what they've done wrong and what adjustments to make. All right, and then here we go with the last tip, okay? You can be a very good coach, but if you don't know business, and if you don't know marketing, and if you don't know how to scale, then you're always going to be stuck, okay? So because I know business, because I've read the books on marketing and building a brand, because I've watched the videos on entrepreneurships, because I've done the research, I've done the studying, okay? I didn't go to school. I'm a high school dropout, but I've done the studying. I got the information, I got the knowledge, I got the wisdom on how to build a brand and how to go from point A to point B to point C to point D. Because I've done that work, that has made me a successful boxing coach. So guys, watching videos like this is super helpful because you can learn from my experience. You can learn from my life, and you can apply it to yours, and you can do it even better than I've done it. So I've had great success in this sports. I believe that this is my purpose, is to teach men to be better men, to empower women to not be afraid, and to empower children to be them best selves, and to not be scared, but to be brave. Boxing is a beautiful thing, and I'm grateful that I do this for a living. This is my profession, and I will do this until the day I die. This is MCKO Boxing. I hope you enjoyed this video.